What's up, you guys, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to another video in my Crimeoween series. In today's video, we are going back to the state of Pennsylvania. Now, if you haven't watched the suspicious death of Alan Greenberg yet, I really recommend that video. I'm going to leave it linked in the cards above as well as the description, but basically what it boils down to is the legal system in the city of Philadelphia especially is a little bit wonky in Pennsylvania. So if you live there, yeah, good luck. However, in today's video, we are going to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania to discuss the unsolved death of Richard McQuown. Richard McQuown was born on July 29th of 1973, joining his older sister Christine. And after he graduated high school, he would go on to attend the Indiana University of Pennsylvania with his ultimate goal of becoming a park ranger. So after graduating college, Richard would enlist in the Air Force, where he spent 4 years as a weather forecaster. Now, a lot of people will use the military to pay for continuing education. I don't know if that's the case here, but he did go back to school once again to receive his master's in environmental science from Shippensburg University. In 2014, Richard was working in the aviation department of PennDOT, or the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation. So while at first glance, Richard may not have seemed like the life of the party, once you got him going, it was really hard to get him to stop. He could actually talk about a lot of different things, and his interests widely varied. He loved kayaking and brewing his own beer, music, and rooting on the Pittsburgh Steelers. He had this very dry, sarcastic sense of humor, and his sister Christine actually said that one of the last 2 emails that he wrote her was a rather lengthy email about why the Pittsburgh Steelers should fire their head coach, Mike Tomlin. A sentiment I wholeheartedly agree with, but after the season they're having this year will probably not be happening. He could never just walk by a party. He always had to go in, always had to talk to someone, and one of his favorite times to go out and have a good time was Halloween. So on October 31st of 2014, Richard would change into his Ricky Vaughn baseball jersey and thick-rimmed black glasses before leaving his New Cumberland home. Now, it's unclear if he left the home by foot or on his bike, but his car was still parked in the driveway. This was very common for Richard. He really didn't like driving if he could walk or bike, especially. He really liked riding his bike. And he lived just over the Market Street Bridge. It really wasn't that far to get into the city of Harrisburg itself. So Richard met up with his friends to enjoy the night out. I don't know if they were doing like a pub crawl type thing, but we do know that he went to 2 separate locations. The first being Shady McGrady's, where he left his cell phone accidentally at the bar. After leaving there, he would walk down 3rd Street near the state capitol and at some point lose his driver's license and credit cards. His last stop was at Momo's Bar and Grill, which is no longer there, but it's at 307 Market Street. I don't know if they even served him because he didn't have credit cards or ID, or, if he was with someone paying for his drinks. But we do know that he left the bar around 10:30 p.m. that night. So when leaving Momo's, Richard would have had a straight shot to get across the Market Street Bridge back to his house, but unfortunately, he would never make it home. On November 1st at 8 a.m., people were getting started with their day. Some were even using the Walnut Street pedestrian bridge to engage in physical activity like cycling or jogging. Around this time, one of the cyclists actually spotted someone that they assumed was a homeless man sleeping under the bridge. They didn't really think anything of it and just continued on their journey. Around 10:30 a.m., a jogger saw this same person and would stop to make sure that everything was okay. And the jogger quickly realized that this was not a homeless person. It was actually Richard McQuown, and he was in desperate need of help. He had been stabbed multiple times and was suffering from hypothermia. He was taken to the hospital where, unfortunately, he would pass away from his injuries at just 41 years old. When friends and family were informed of the area where Richard had been found, they were left scratching their heads. They wondered why he wouldn't have just taken his usual route home, via the Market Street Bridge. Richard had lived in Harrisburg for more than 10 years, and while he loved the city, he knew it could be dangerous, especially along the river. So why was someone that had a military background willing to go down to a dangerous part at this time of night? It did not make sense to them. At this point, the police could not find Richard's keys, his wallet, or his cell phone, and they theorized that this may have been a random act of violence with robbery as its motive. But they couldn't say anything definitive. They needed more information, and that's when they received their first lead. It turned out that on November 1st, Richard's credit card was actually used at the Hess gas station near Cameron and Market Streets at least 3 separate times, totaling at least $270. So the police go to the Hess gas station and they ask to see the CCTV. They're thinking that this person is their number one lead, could be a prime suspect in Richard's death. And what they find is that the charges actually came from a homeless man named Michael Cleland, who would be charged with fraudulently using the card as well as forging Richard's signature each time he swiped. So Michael told the police that he found the credit card on the street, that he didn't have anything to do with what happened to Richard, and the police were able to verify that he did find the credit card on the street. There were several other people that came forward that said they had found items from Richard's wallet around the same general area. Police never said what other items were recovered, but they did send them off to the state lab to try and get any fingerprints or DNA testing done, but nothing would come of this. On November 3rd, the police canine unit would actually come search the area under the Walnut Street Bridge, but they would find nothing. November 3rd, the police canine unit came to search the area under the Walnut Street Bridge, but they found nothing. As the investigation progressed, the detectives were able to rule out any possible theories like Richard was involved in drugs or in a potential love triangle. None of that was true. The most likely theory that they were left with was robbery. But unfortunately, all of their leads quickly led nowhere. One of the friends that Richard was out with that night was a man called Chuck Brown. Now, Chuck said that Richard was in a great mood all night long. He was, having a great time. He wasn't causing trouble, and he didn't have any enemies. And Chuck also questioned how any one person could have taken Richard down by the river to attack him. Richard was a big, strong guy. He was 5 foot 9 inches and he weighed about 170 to 180 pounds. So this didn't fit with a single attacker theory. However, no one person would ever come forward and admit that they had a role in the death of Richard McQuown. Crime Stoppers would go on to offer a $5,000 reward to anyone that had information that could lead to an arrest and conviction in his murder, but it sat unclaimed. After Richard's death, his friends would go on to establish a Facebook memorial page where they would post information about kayak runs that they were having, and all the proceeds would go to this mission to raise money for a scholarship at Shippensburg University for someone in the science department. They felt that this was the best way to honor their friend. Richard was a likable guy who had a natural zest for life, and he was a caring uncle to his 2 nieces until his life was tragically taken from him. And unfortunately, there have been no new leads or information in the case whatsoever. I understand that this is more than likely a case of random violence, but Richard still deserves to have his story told, and that's not happening in this situation. And with that being said, we are at the end of another video. I want to thank you guys so much for watching today. If you liked it, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel if you have not already. I do post new videos every Wednesday and Saturday, and we'll see you very soon. Bye!